Hello and welcome to Coffee on Korriban. Today we are going to be talking about 5 potential pitfalls for the Ahsoka show. Things that if they mess these up, all of them or individually, then this show could be doomed to not be that great or be hated outright. Not a very positive video, but if you want to kind of hear my thoughts on this, then I don't know. You clicked the video in the first place, so thank you for that at least. But reason number 5 is Ahsoka Fatigue. We've heard the term Star Wars fatigue for years now. We're getting too much content, and it's all kind of blurring together. I don't necessarily agree with that because I view, like a lot of you do, my subscribers, that Star Wars is similar to like a buffet. You walk up with your plate, you grab a few things. Oh, that's really good. I like that. I want more of that. Hence, we get 3 seasons of Mandalorian. Not gonna watch that ever again. And then you hear someone throwing up in the booth next to you, talking about, oh, don't get that thing right there. And it's the High Republic, and so you don't even get it in the first place. Whether or not it's good or not. That's kind of how it goes. But in a more positive sense, you pick and choose what you want to reconsume. You as the stuff comes out, you can watch it and make up your own opinions. And it's not the end of the world if one show is not to your liking. Just watch the next one and try to enjoy it. So that's Star Wars fatigue. I don't really necessarily agree with it, but Ahsoka fatigue, is that a real thing? I think so, because there's been a lot of talk about this, at least in my little small corner of the internet, talking about how this is Dave Filoni's pet character. Of course, it's his baby, and so there's no tension of actually killing her off. And she's been in so much. Obviously, Clone Wars season 7, which was fantastic, brought her into the Mandalorian. Cool, I like it. Rebels, okay, she's in there, and what was the other one? Tales of the Jedi as well. But now that she's getting her own show, is there too much Ahsoka in the world? Possibly. And so is that going to keep people from watching this show in the first place, or from being really genuinely excited about it? Because it's just more Ahsoka, which is kind of a bummer because she's an excellent character. I really don't want them to overplay her character to where there's nothing interesting about her anymore. That would be a huge bummer. Number 4 thing that they could ruin the show with is by Disneyfying it. I feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show, the series, was it a series if it's only 1 season? Were they talking about a second one? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. It felt very Disneyfied. There was a lot of cheesiness, a lot of pulled punches, a lot of things that weren't as serious as they could have been. All the stuff between Obi-Wan and Vader in that show was excellent. I loved it. It still tasted like Disney, and it's a very subjective thing, but it had that Disney aftertaste. You watched it and you were like, yeah, that was really cool. That was fun. That was Disney. Disney made that. Andor didn't have that at all. Mandalorian season 3 had that to a lesser extent, but I hope they don't do that with this show. I hope they don't Disneyfy it. I hope you know what I mean when I'm saying that is just the classic Disney tropes of the good guys always win, and happy endings and saved at the last minute, and just the stereotypical tropes of Disney. I think needs to stay out of this show, and if they bring too much of that in, jokes and stuff are fine, but if they bring too much of that in, I definitely think it could ruin the show. Number 3 thing that they could do to ruin the show is to go woke. Now, I don't really want to touch on this a whole lot. I mean, you guys have, there's other channels that talk about this more in depth, but the whole female empowerment thing, do I mind a strong female lead? No. Obviously, Princess Leia is great. Ahsoka is a great character. Padme, I mean, the list goes on. You guys have seen the memes and the posts and the blogs and videos and stuff. But if the focus of that comes before the story or the larger world of Star Wars, then that's a problem. And I'm not saying anything that you guys haven't heard before, but that's just how it is. If there's an emphasis on that, that's not going to work. And it has nothing to do with the gender of the person on the screen. That's absolutely not the point. But they could definitely mess it up if they put their message ahead of the story that they're trying to tell. And even more importantly, if they put their message in such a way that it takes you out of the larger picture of Star Wars. If you think to yourself, I don't know if that would actually ever happen in Star Wars, in the Star Wars universe, we've never seen that before, then that would be a problem. So that's really all I'll say on that subject. The number 2 thing that they could do to destroy this show is if they ruin Thrawn. Thrawn is a beloved character through multiple generations of the original books, the newer books, and Rebels. And if they don't get his character right, or if they significantly change it from what people are used to with his character, that could be a problem. I've joked before about people will see his character and think that it's a copy of Khan from the new Star Trek movies, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. Was that Into Darkness? I don't know. But I only saw it once. And people joke about... people would have the potential to joke about, oh, they're just copying that character. This Thrawn guy is nothing original, when obviously he's from way in the past. But if they don't bring him to life in the correct way in this show, I think that just by itself will be a deal breaker for a lot of Star Wars fans. The storyline could be excellent. The other characters could be great. The acting, the CGI, the cinematography, the special effects could all be on point. And if they ruin Thrawn, I think a large portion of the Star Wars fans watching the show will be lost, which would be a huge bummer. Before we get to number 1, if you want to subscribe, you can. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it. Let me know what you think about all these points in the comments, and if you want to continue that discussion, click the link in the description, join the Discord, and we can talk about it more, because we have a great little community in Discord. I would love for you to be a part of it. Number 1 thing that could ruin this show is if it's mediocre. If it's a show. That would be the worst thing that this show could do. Because it wouldn't be polarizing, it would just be generically and generally, alright, that was okay. I kind of felt that way about the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. Like, there were some really cool parts to it. Obviously, Ahmed Best coming back was fantastic. But overall, it was, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's okay. That's cool. Andor was not like that, obviously. Book of Boba Fett seemed to be that way to some extent. But I think if this show is just another Disney Star Wars show, that will be damaging not just for the show itself, but also for the Star Wars franchise. That has the potential to set in Star Wars fatigue, because if we're getting a show every single year or twice a year that is just meh, no one's going to want to show up twice a year and keep their Disney Plus subscription alive to watch 2 meh shows a year. Now, Star Wars fans like myself, I'll watch it. I'm not paying for Disney Plus, but I'll watch it. And so I'm interested in seeing what stuff is coming out, but the generic public, the general public, is not going to be that invested if you keep giving them lukewarm water to drink instead of green milk, or wherever that analogy falls short. So that, I think, is the thing that will ruin this show the most and ruin the larger Star Wars brand just from that one point. So to recap, the Ahsoka fatigue, if people are too saturated with Ahsoka, that they're not excited for it, that could damage it. If it's too Disney, it could make it fail. If they put their personal politics above the Star Wars universe, that could be a problem. If they don't do Thrawn justice, that could be a problem. And ultimately, if it's just okay, dog, then it's not going to be good. at all. So those are just some things that I thought of off the top of my head that could go terribly wrong with this show. Let me know what you think, again, down in below or in Discord. Thank you very much for watching. May the stash be with you, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.